Hello everyone, welcome to Botany Option channel for UPSC examination. In today's video, we are going to see the act called Environment Protection Act of 1986. This act was created by an Indian government for the protection of environment and to safeguard the every living organism on the planet. So, this Environment Protection Act is given in your UPSC Botany Option syllabus in chapter number 5 of the paper second. Before starting the video, I request you to join the Telegram channel of the same name, that is the Botany Optional for UPSC examination, on the Telegram platform. So let's learn about the Environment Protection Act of 1986. Now, first of all, this act is created to satisfy the provisions taken at the United Nations Conference on the Human Environment in 1972. This conference held at the Stockholm, in which the United Nations countries agreed they will protect their respective environment. That is, every country should have the laws regarding the protection of the environment. India too had such obligation for creating such an Environment Act. That is, the provision for creating the Environment Act is given in the United Nations Conference on the Human Environment in 1972. But it takes nearly 14 years for India to create such an law. Now, the very immediate reason for creating such a law is the Bhopal gas tragedy of 1984. Now, when the Bhopal gas tragedy occurs, the hazardous substance were leaked from this tragedy, which have taken the lives of many people. Now, due to this tragedy, the government suddenly came into the action and they create the Environment Protection Act of 1986. In this act, now the hazardous substances are controlled so that the tragedy like Bhopal gas tragedy will not repeat again. So the roots of Environment Protection Act lies in the United Nations Conference on Human Environment of 1972, while the very immediate reason to enact this act, that is the Environment Protection Act, is the Bhopal gas tragedy of 1984. All right. Now, this is an umbrella legislation in the India. That is, all the environment protection related laws are comes under the Environment Protection Act of 1986. It covers nearly all the laws related with the environment. That is the air law, then Water Act, etc. are all contained under the Environment Protection Act of 1986, and that is why this is called as the umbrella legislation in the India. This act, that is the Environment Protection Act of 1986, covers the whole India, right from Kashmir to the Tamil Nadu and from Gujarat to the Arunachal Pradesh. Whole India covers by this act. That is the Environment Protection Act of 1986 is applied to all over to the India. Now, this act particularly contains the four chapters, and in these four chapters, we have 26 sections regarding how the Environment Protection Act is applied to the whole India. So, we have to remember carefully that all the environment related laws are comes under the Environment Protection Act of 1986, and that is why it is called an umbrella legislation. This covers whole the India, and the Environment Protection Act of 1986 contains the four chapters and the 26 sections. All right. So we will see these 26 sections one by one. Now the chapter 1 contains the section 1 and 2. That is the section 1 and 2 comes under the chapter 1. Now section 1 suggests that this act is extended to the whole India, as we have discussed earlier. Then section 2 explains all the different types of terms given in the act. Terms like environment, protection, then state, companies, etc. terms are explained in the section 2 of the chapter 1. Then in the chapter 2, we have sections from 3 to 6. The third section laying down the standard of emission. That is all the standard levels of the emission of the greenhouse gases, or say gases responsible for the global warming like CO2, SO2, CFCs, etc. had been given in the section 3. All right. Then section 4 gives clarification about the appointment of the officers for the Environment Act. Then section 5 contains the powers of the central government regarding the Environment Protection Act of 1986. While the section 6 says that central government powers to make the regulation of the environment pollution. That is, central government has all the power to make the regulation of the environmental pollution. Then the chapter 3rd consists of the section 7 to the section 17. And section 7 suggests that the industries are not allowed for the any high emission of the greenhouse gases. After that, the eighth section suggests that the rules for handling the hazardous substances, that is, all the hazardous substances covered by the Environment Protection Act, are driven by the rules. And Section 8 gives all the rules relating to how to handle all these hazardous substances. Then Section 9 gives furnishing of all the information to the authorities. That is, whenever the information is required by the authorities, such information should be provided to the authorities under the Section 9. While the Section 10 suggests that powers of inspection of the officers of the central government, that is, the officers appointed by the central government under this act has the power of inspection of anything they require to be inspected. While the 11th section says that power to sample air, water, etc. from anywhere. That is section 11 of the chapter 3 of Environment Protection Act gives the power of taking samples of air, water, etc. from anywhere in the India. This section 12 contains the power of central government to establish the environmental laboratories. That is, central government of India can establish the environmental laboratories under the section 12 of chapter 3 of Environment Protection Act of 1986. While the section 13 contains the powers of central government to appoint the government analyst and appoint their own analyst under the section 13 of the chapter 3 of Environment Protection Act of 1986, while the section 14 contains the reports of the government analyst will be used as a evidence of fact. In case of legal dispute between the parties, the report given by the analyst, which is appointed by the government, will be used as the evidence of the fact under the section 14. Section 15 suggests for the penalty for the contravention in the procedure of Act, it is 5 years or fine up to 1 lakh or both. If continues, 5,000 per day. That is, if someone creates the contravention in the procedure of Act, such a person will be barred for the 5 years or may have fine up to 1 lakh or may have penalty of both. That is 5 years of imprisonment plus 1 lakh fine. And after that, if such a contravention is continued, then 5,000 per day fine will be applied under the section 15. Now, section 16 contains the offences made by the companies, while the section 17 offences by the government departments. Section 16 covers only the companies, while the section 17 covers all the government offices for their offences. Now, while considering the section 17, you should remember that if there is offense, straight away head of the department will be taken as a responsible and punished accordingly. All right. So this is the chapter 3 in which we have section from 7 to 17. So let's learn about the chapter 14 in which we have sections from 18 to 26. Section 18 contains the protection of action taken in good faith by a government officer in which there will be no prosecution. That is, if any government officer take an action which is in good faith of the environment, then such a thing cannot be challenged in a court and there will be no prosecution. This is contained under the section 18. Now, section 19 contains the cognizance of offense. That is, no court shall take complaint except made by the government authorities. That is, all the complaints made under this act, if they are given by the government authorities, then and only then the court can take the complaints. In any otherwise, complaints cannot be taken under the section 19 of this act. Now, this section 20 contains the central government may ask for information or reports from the officers or servants. Now, under section 20, government has the power to ask the information or any reports from their officers, while the section 21 contains the officers under the section 3 to be the public servants. Section 22 contains the bar of jurisdiction, that is, no civil court jurisdiction with respect to anything done under this act. All right. So section 22 clearly says that there will be bar for the jurisdiction, no civil court jurisdiction with respect to anything done under this act, that is Environment Protection Act of 1986. Section 23 contains the power of a central government to delegate against the state government or the officers. That is, Section 23 empowers the central government to go against the state government or the officers. The Section 24 shows the effects of the other laws on the Environment Protection Act of 1986. That is section 24 elaborate the what are the effect of other laws on the Environment Protection Act of 1986. While the section 25 contains the power of a central government to make rules and regulation from time to time. That is under the article, that is under the section 25. The central government from time to time can make rules and regulation for the protection of environment. At last, we have section 26, in which rules made under this act to be laid before the parliament. That is, whatever the rules and regulation made under the Environment Protection Act of 1986 should be laid down before the parliament. All right. So these are the sections from 18 to 26, which are in the chapter number 4. All right. So thank you very much for watching this video. Please like the video. Please comment if you have any doubt. Please share this video with your friends who are studying botany. And please subscribe to the Botany channel for UPSC examination. Again, thank you very much for watching this video. See you in the next one.